Werewolf here in my home state of New York. The ongoing prison strike continues. Now, 2 weeks ago, starting with just 2 prisons, the guards, the correctional officers, had it, and they walked out. Soon, all other prisons, except for 2 in the state, followed. What they were sick of, besides the verbal, physical abuse and fecal matter thrown at them by some inmates, and not having appropriate ways to respond to this, was 24-hour mandatory overtime shifts. As one guard I spoke to said it, "We're being treated like the prisoners here." And now critics, pundits, leftist journalists wrongly attribute this to, as a response to the unlawful beating to death of attempted murderer inmate Robert Lee Brooks. And of course, the media assumes it was racially motivated since it was white guards on a black criminal. But if Robert Brooks really believed in Black Lives Matter, then he wouldn't have stabbed his ex-girlfriend, Diana Rivers, who is the mother of his child, and thus traumatizing the child, most likely for the rest of life. You know, gosh, I'm looking at this Cohen legal firm page, and they describe Diana as a baby mama, quote, baby mama, unquote. You know, is this even a legal term? I mean, maybe it is these days. So I drove down to one of the prisons. I was hoping to film an interview, but most of the guys didn't want to even talk to me. One officer who was friendly towards me explained it. He said that due to non-disclosure agreements that they'd signed at the prison, that there are things about the job that go on there within those walls that they're not allowed to discuss. And due to the illegal nature of the strike. Now, this is a wildcat strike, meaning it is not approved by their union, so they don't have their union's backing if things go wrong. They're risking their jobs, their insurance, their retirement, for what he could tell me, what I could infer from what he told me. It sounds like one of the problems is stand-down orders, where you're not allowed to take action in some situations which you probably would want to. So I looked up the HALT Act, a New York State policy, which is one of the things that they're opposed to. And while the media just talks about the limit on solitary confinement in the HALT Act, as that's the only thing they're really protesting, it goes much deeper than that. It's much more layered. And it gets into some abstractions like requiring guards to use restorative justice on criminals, thus expecting them to also be a social worker, if my understanding is correct. And when you think about it, after a 24-hour shift, most people would snap, you know? And meanwhile, you have riots at some of these prisons. The facilities, inmates have taken over dormitory areas. Look, if these liberals are right, and if the guards are the ones who are the bullies, well, why don't they put the inmates? I'm sure they'll act ethically in charge of running these places. That's not going to work. Anyway, this event is bigger than it looks. Guys are camped out. They had a grill going, barbecuing food. Governor Count Holchula, Kathy Hochul, ordered them to return to work or be fired. As of the recording of this video, a large number of the guards did decide to return to work, but many others have stayed protesting along the streets outside of the jails. Holchula agreed to a 90-day suspension of the HALT Act, some sort of resolution to balance the overtime, and a committee to look into the HALT Act, which just in New York State means more bureaucrats that are going to waste a lot of time, get paid overtime, for some conclusion that's fairly obvious. Look, these guys are risking a lot. If they win, they will change things for the greater good. Well, thank you for watching, and until next time, life, liberty, and the pursuit of all!